A continuación se viene uno de los ponentes más esperados el día de hoy. Me refiero al speaker Minevich. Es miembro principal de la Federación Mundial de Consejos de Competitividad, GFCC, autor y visionario de renombre mundial en los campos de digitalización y de inteligencia artificial. Él es fundador oficial de Going Global Ventures, una firma de asesoría estratégica, inversiones y tecnología con sede en Nueva York, dedicada al éxito de los principales clientes tecnológicos en la economía del conocimiento global. También es miembro fundador del grupo de trabajo digital del B20, como experto en digitalización, sistemas autónomos avanzados y el futuro de la inteligencia artificial. Por favor, fuerte los aplausos para Minevich con su tema Inteligencia Artificial.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here in this warm country to experience this amazing, great, warm weather and warm people. So thank you very much. On behalf of the JFCC in Washington, D.C. and the United States Competitiveness Council, I warmly welcome this invitation to be here, and I look forward to speaking to all of you today about the topic of artificial intelligence. Thank you, señores and buenos dias, to this amazing discussion which we will have. Thank you, Natalie, for making it possible, and the whole organization that is keeping this country competitive and innovative. To the mayor of this city and everybody that worked very hard to make this happen. Thank you. So, we are in the era of algorithmic economy, ladies and gentlemen. 15.7 trillion value is created in the biggest revolution that the world has known so far. 15.7 trillion, according to McKinsey, PwC, Accenture. This is the value. And yet, there are a lot of naysayers and contrarians which continue to speak in opposition that AI and data will be and is the oil of the 21st century. I understand their opinions, but I respectfully disagree. Look at this way. Artificial intelligence is unstoppable force, and data is gasoline. So the next gasoline, the next oil, when people tell you Ecuador, oil refineries, oil companies, no, the next oil is data, and that's why innovation is so critical to us. And the next phase of global economy, no matter what protectionism tells us, the next phase of globalization economy is in digital revolution. You heard it from the previous speakers. Digital revolution is here. And the emerging markets are going to take a major piece of it. Only 5% of the Fortune Global 500 companies were based in developing regions. Now, by 2025, the emerging market companies are likely to make up 45% on this list. If you look at this chart, those are the companies that are ruling this world today. Those are the companies that are dictating the retail, the technological footprint, the services economy, and the new economy, which is to be born in the new autonomous vehicles, which I'll talk about, as well as technological companies which are driving new type of microprocessors. You see them on top, Amazon's, Alphabet's, Intel's, Microsoft's. That's the driving force of the most innovative companies in the world. So, in addition, the AI business is going to boost productivity by 40%. Yes, 40%. It will allow companies to save on labor costs, better allocate their people to do the work. And by 2035, artificial intelligence will double annual rates of economic growth, and it will change how we do things in our daily life and in our work. There will be a never-ending marriage, maybe a marriage of conveniences, but nevertheless, It will be the marriage of man and machine. Business leaders must continue to drive this next wave of digitalization to change the landscape and bring the on-demand economy which will define the 21st century. Now, it's also predicted that over 125 billion to possibly trillion devices will be hitting us on so-called Internet of Things by 2030. That will also change the world as we know it. And the digital AI future is here, radically changing everything, as I mentioned. No, it's not far-fetched. Just follow the money. Follow the dollars. The economist projecting that the AI boosting, as I mentioned, to 15 trillion by 2030. From 2011 to 2015, the investments of AI, proven already, have skyrocketed from a mere 282 million to 2.5 billion. 751% increase, ladies and gentlemen. And what do we have in 2018? Businesses and governments saw that as a pioneer year. Venture capitalists have invested over 5,000 startups since 2013. $19 billion invested in artificial intelligence. In 2018, VCs have funneled 10 billion in nearly 500 startups in the United States. That's almost double the investments from 2017. So this is just the beginning. We're seeing the fundamental changes within this major new economic boost to the economy. And in 2019, we have to change the equation one more time. It's not enough to be a pioneer, to be a catalyst. We have to find out what is real and what is hype. And how do you differentiate hype from real? And we got to make AI mainstream. AI cannot sit in the back office. It's not meant to sit in the back office. It's meant to be at the forefront of our civilization, of our humanity, of our society. And every tech leader will be allocating major resources into the intelligent machines. The shift on-demand economy is happening. 22.4 million consumers are spending $56 billion. This is the heftiest gig economy category, especially in the area of online marketplaces, which is boasting more than 16 million consumers a month, which are spending nearly 36 billion a year. So 2019 will be the industry where AI will make its mark. This year, it will come to fruition. In artificial intelligence, we see challenges as well. Not everything is rosy. No, it should be rosy. Divide is happening between nations and industries. There will be winners and there will be losers, unfortunately. And we must focus on adoption. The war for talent, as I will talk about in my presentation, is just beginning. But it's also the war for value creation. The landscape of entrepreneurship is also changing. Entrepreneurs are not what we have seen in the past. The digital entrepreneurs are very different. The winners and losers are emerging in the race of adoption. And the war for talent and competition is nothing like I ever seen before. The human capabilities that we as humans can now be undertaken completely by software, efficiently, inexpensively, and at massive scale. This new hardware and software is making it impossible to have, and will make it possible to have a very unique future. But AI offers us profound benefits that pose significant risks. What will the future be, and how will we choose that future? In Ecuador, in South America, in North America, it's up to us. It is a long road ahead for artificial intelligence, but it's full of potential and full of opportunities. I just came back from a summit in Tokyo. Literally, I have ended up in Japan, briefly in New York, and now here, so hitting several continents. But the B20, which is the business community of the G20, just unveiled Society 5.0 for SDGs. Society 5.0 is a major topic for artificial intelligence. It is a society's readiness to embrace changes that are allowing us the advancements of technology that will bring real-world benefits that are finally coming to reality. Japan, as hosting the G20 this year in Osaka, that have the presidency for the G20, have staked an important ground as the world leader in practical applications in regenerative medicine, robotics, AI, driverless cars, and so on and so forth, specifically for mobility and aging population. So AI and Society 5.0 are going to be bringing to the world digital transformation, value creation in a new society helping humanity. This is not just technology for technology. This is technology to embrace societal needs and human needs. And we are moving on to embrace areas which are critically important for AI, including creativity and imagination of various diverse people on this planet. This Society 5.0, as unveiled in Japan, and will be key formula and I think a key metric globally, is focusing on areas of healthcare, universal health systems, and abundance of new raw data available to those systems linking academia, industry, and government. Mobility. With the populations residing in urban areas, we need mobility more and more. Rural areas cannot be left behind, and this is very much of a challenge here in Ecuador. We need new transportation, we need new hospitals, we need new community centers, we need to invest using the topics of Society 5.0. And more important, Society 5.0 needs to be mapped into the United Nations SDG goals. All of those SDG goals should be mentioned today are key for our humanity. We must eliminate poverty, we must eliminate diseases, we must eliminate hunger, and Society 5.0, enabled by artificial intelligence, will certainly map and attack areas of new cities, energy, helping with disaster prevention, new type of healthcare, digital healthcare, new type of agriculture, which I will speak, precision medicine, logistics, new types of finances, which was covered today, including blockchains and public services. So that's the new paradigm and the new economic model which the world should be looking for, Society 5.0, for specifically aligned with the SDG goals. And each one of them is a critical agenda for the United Nations. I happen to also serve on the United Nations Committee on Artificial Intelligence. And every one of those areas, from food to health to finances, should be tackled by an economic model like Society 5.0. So as we're going through this cycle, many of you in this room that I had privilege to meet are entrepreneurs. You are the new generation of entrepreneurs. You are digital entrepreneurs. And you are the ones which will guide this economy. You are the ones which capitalize on AI and IoT on this disruption. Look, $7 trillion will be available for the taking, for the bright new entrepreneurs that are entering this new age. And we need those entrepreneurs. They will start building new billion-dollar businesses, same businesses that were built by Google and Amazon. There are many industries now which are ripe for disruption. The time is now. But the entrepreneurs are going to be the key to solve many worldwide problems. And we must think ahead. The conventional process and norms are not going to work. We need innovation. Scale of innovation has never been seen before to conquer some of those things like poverty and food. We need new startups which are going to be proactive, not reactive. So basic physics have shown us that matter can never be created or destroyed. It simply changes forms. This is what you as an entrepreneur should seize on when it comes to autonomous vehicles, to digital health. There's going to be merely a change in forms of our economy. Once those jobs are going to be gone, don't despair. Don't listen to media. They will not be gone. They will mold into something new, something innovative. And we know that entrepreneurs will do it better and at higher frequency. And they will do it better than anybody else on this earth. Their mission will be to find software and algorithms which will change businesses. So when you have to travel from point A to point B in any crowded city, entrepreneurs will lead the way. And they have plenty of work today, and they have plenty of industry to disrupt. Before I get into bulk of my presentation, one important topic is hitting my community. I chair AI Pioneers, a leading group of executives and leaders in AI. One major topic is responsible AI. You're going to be hearing this on the television, on media. This is where the community of major companies is coming together and saying it's not enough just to build AI. We have to see benefits that are bringing a responsible agenda to solve global problems. If we're ever going to take challenges, global challenges, and have that limitless potential of AI that we're speaking about today, we must be prepared that AI will benefit everybody. It has to be all-inclusive. We can't leave people behind. We can't leave cities behind. We can't leave villages behind. We can't leave citizens. If we fail to make ethical and inclusive AI, we will risk losing gains made in civil rights and gender equality in disguise of machine neutrality, and we can't allow this. Biased systems will increase inequality. Data used to train existing AI systems reflect historic bias. Whether it's Amazon or Microsoft, there is bias in gender and race. And we must remove this bias before those systems become optimal and effective to solve your problems. Biased AI systems could cause individual economic loss, social stagnation, and a loss of opportunity. Artificial media will undermine this trust. We must create new AI, responsible AI, which will function responsibly, focusing on making it easy to create trust instead of undermining trust. We must offer trade-offs for privacy and security. AI-powered facial recognition right now is of a big concern. China, for example, is extending surveillance systems to monitor citizens all over the world. Can we sacrifice privacy to detect crime? What are the maximum thresholds that we're willing to admit? Will we ever adapt to the new high-tech surveillance, or the greater powers for the control? We have to figure out what will be the digital ethical systems. What will be the privacy, and how would that privacy work? So we have to focus on responsible AI, which will be a good, profitable business, I promise you, for everybody that will take advantage of the rewards of business. And we must make sure that a responsible AI, it is developed in an ethical way, trustworthy, human-centric. And again, Society 5.0 plays a leading role in the responsible AI. We're looking at a chart now where the perfect storm is hitting from every direction, like we have never seen before in 2019. Yes, AI has been around since when, do you think? 1956. Mr. Turing has asked at that time, can machines think? And AI technology has come further along, much further along. The capabilities now are on a much tipping point, as you could see. You have new algorithms that have created. You have massive availability of training data. massive new hardware, massive cloud services, open source architectures, greater investment than ever before, increased interest by public, by companies, by the boards, by the CEOs of the biggest companies. Together, those developments have transformed results while slashing time and developing artificial intelligence. Progress is still attracting AI in investments, entrepreneurship, and accelerating like never before. We're in a world now of so-called narrow AI or applied AI. And yes, as I mentioned, AI is important because AI for the first time will traditionally enhance human capabilities at a massive scale. And this narrow AI has been around for a long time. It started with basic AI in 1956 with basic rules to display rudimentary intelligence in limited context. But those rule-based systems have now evolved. They were limited. Many real-world problems and challenges, from medical diagnosis to recognizing objects and images, were too complex. And those problems and the sets of rules at that time were written by people. But now everything will be done by algorithms. Machine learning is enabling the programs to learn through training instead of being programmed by rules. By processing training data, machine learning systems will result in improvement with experience. And now we're seeing a new wave of narrow AI in so-called deep learning. Deep learning is a subset of machine learning that is delivering breakthrough revolution in the fields of computer vision and languages. Deep learning is also machine learning, but not all machine learning is deep learning. Deep learning today emulates the way animals' brain learns subtle tasks. It models the brain, not the world. Networks of artificial neurons. We have billions and billions of neurons in our brain, and only a small percentage of that is being mimicked by deep learning techniques today. It is trying to extract features, it's optimizing variance, it's improving results. All of that is being done not by rules, as it was done in 1950s and 1960s and 1970s, but training data. AI technology is leading the way in patterns that have never been seen before, especially identifying elements of data that is not visible to human beings. We should start getting into use cases because AI is not just about technology, it's about use cases in the real world. And use cases are proliferating like never before. Automation of those abilities create massive new opportunities in most business sectors now and consumer applications. AI has numerous tangible use cases, which I'll talk today, enabling corporate revenue and cost reduction. And they are in the area of financial services, in the area of retail, in the area of manufacturing and healthcare, you name it, they're all there. In fact, let me give you, according to the latest research, some of the top use cases that I have seen. In asset management, in financial banks, investment strategy, portfolio construction, risk management, client services is handled by artificial intelligence. In healthcare, diagnostics, drug discovery, and monitoring by AI. In transportation area, which I will cover, autonomous vehicles, infrastructure, fleet management, control applications, all are part of the AI use cases. We have, I'm going to just talk about a few use cases which I think are very central, and especially to a country such as Ecuador. In agriculture, which is a big area where AI is playing a major role, this is where technology is based on so-called innovation or synthetic agriculture. This synthetic agriculture is using science to shape natural systems and even creating new ones. And I believe the main ways AI could help agriculture or sustainable future is through precision farming. So AI-powered programs combine data for weather pattern recognitions, crop yields, market prices, harvests. Algorithms are far from perfect, but they're delivering now results to much less heavy tech farms. Farmers in the world are using minimal data and yet making leaps in productivity with algorithms on the cloud. Amazing stuff. This precision agriculture is expected to reach $2.9 billion in 2021, just a few years from now. And drones are now mapping fields for farmers, monitoring moisture content for thermal imaging, identifying pest-infected crops and other spray pesticides, and more. We see it with companies like John Deere. John Deere has been reinventing itself. A farming equipment manufacturer has been now acquiring startups at a massive rate. One of the startups that it acquired is a company called Blue River Technology, an agriculture equipment company equipped with computer vision for over $300 million, an agriculture solution to advanced machine learning. They're not the only one. You have companies like Terranos using third-party Cessna airplanes with very much equipped AI startups. Then you have companies that are using technology to scout and monitor fields. Big organizations like Cargill investing in a company like Descartes Labs, which is using satellite imagery and satellite data to figure out and forecast crops like soybeans and corn. DARPA, the United States government DARPA, is working with Descartes to forecast food security. So you see in the area of agriculture and food, there's so many new investments, acquisitions, but that area is it's a big area, but the most of the growth in artificial intelligence that I'm seeing and we're seeing is in the area of digital health. I call it digital health, but it covers so much, has so much potential. Investors are also taking notice of the digital health. $6.8 billion in 2018 has been invested in AI companies, just in digital health. It's really amazing. And you have startups around the world which are participating from companies like Kaya app, which is reducing lower pain by 40% using AI, or a company in London like Benevolent AI, which is using data and technology in drug development. And then you have companies like Zipline in Silicon Valley, which is one of the leading potential unicorns now in intersection of drones and healthcare, launching on-demand services in Rwanda and other players to deliver different types of blood products, blood, plasma, and platelets to immediate medical treatment. This is what we're seeing now on the marketplace. So we're seeing tremendous amount of new healthcare data, which is being run by NLP, robotic surgery, and they're being run by so-called deep reinforcement learning techniques using 5G networks. This is our future. And the future in 2019 promises the year of healthcare. Humans will have a chance to modify, improve, and continuously upgrade their abilities and their mindset to be ever perfect. Telemedicine is also improving in using artificial intelligence. We're able to monitor chronic diseases now 24/7. Prosthetics, area which was underserved, now is also being enhanced by 3D, smart algorithms, and highly functional prosthetic devices. Large technology giants, as many of you have mentioned today, Amazon, Google, Apple, and the Chinese company Tencent, have made huge strides in digital health. Chinese Tencent has privately funded healthcare services impacting the future of biotechnology. Apple is hiring doctors, medical doctors, on its staff right now today. They're using Apple Watch, and Apple Watch will become a predominant tool for diagnostics and telemetry into the future. Google and Amazon are pursuing everything in your home. Pharma, medical devices, deep learning, everything is being converged. They're scanning all your medical devices. Amazon is getting into health insurance field and are offering health digital packages. Google DeepMind, as you have heard, one of the premier companies that was purchased by Google, is neuroscience in inspiring this new world, this foundation where machines could mimic the process of a human brain. Impossible to think about, but this is now happening. DeepMind is spending so much time in trying to beat humans at games, to understand how the human brain actually works and how we could implement a lot of that stuff in solving problems. But that's not the only area. In AI is critically important in drug discovery today. So many biotech companies, especially in Silicon Valley, are getting involved with traditional pharma companies, providing innovative solutions. Pfizer, for example, entered a partnership with XTAPI, AI startup backed by massive groups like Tencent and Google to predict pharmaceutical properties of small molecules and develop computational-related drug designs. And they are not alone. Novartis, Sanofi, Merck are all following the same. In particular, I've seen a very interesting new trend happening specifically in the United States. AI is being seen as a medical device now, software as a service. And that's only happening because FDA in the United States is moving very quickly now. Products are being approved by FDA are now in 6 months periods, and they're being fast-tracked. I have seen over 80 to 100 new AI imaging and diagnostic companies that have raised massive amount of money, huge valuations. FDA has approved software, AI software for diabetes, diabetic retinopathy. It has approved startups that are actually monitoring and giving you more specific, accurate analysis, much more than CAT scans ever will. They are also backing oncological studies to spot liver functions. And much more. You could do self-tests at the privacy of your house if you happen to have some sort of infection, kidney, urinary infection. Now you have AI ability to leverage images to detect some of those abnormalities. And there are multiple startups which are getting into this area. There is, of course, a huge area in digital health, which is so-called advanced biometrics. This advanced biometrics is using neural network technology to study typical risks which humans have and figure out those risks are warranted or potentially can we identify a deadly heart attack which is coming. Researchers at Google are using retinal images to identify cardiovascular risks. There's an Israeli company called Beyond Verbal, which was just partnering with Mayo Clinic, using acoustic sounds in our voice to find, do we have coronary advanced disease because of our voice? And enhancing cardiograms are now could be done using our iPhones. So this is the new world which we're seeing. We're also seeing now the world of regenerative medicine. We have seen people like Peter Thiel and Elon Musk talking about regenerative medicine. We want to live longer, we want to live better, and the regenerative medicine is hitting the highest ceiling. And the reason it's hitting the highest ceiling is because we have now ability to figure out what is going on in terms of our life and extension of our life through artificial intelligence. There are a lot of use cases which I want to spend time with you, but I also want to cover some areas which are also critically important, which is adoption. Adoption in artificial intelligence is a major, major issue. There are companies which are adopting AI at a rapid pace, and there are companies which are laggards, falling behind. And what we're seeing is, right now in the market, especially in 2018, that there's a growing number of large companies which have adopted AI for their ROI. The AI has tripled, the adoption has tripled in the last 12 months. And we're also seeing something which is a cosm, where the breakage is occurring. The people who are much further ahead are going much further, and the people who are just starting out, it's much more complicated for them than ever before. So we have to figure out what are we doing in terms of adoption and divergence. Because divergence is getting much larger and larger, and adoption is becoming quicker in many of those areas. Specifically in Asia, China is very much leading in the adoption. So AI is adopting in all of the areas that I mentioned. Enterprises are using multiple types of AI applications now. The most popular ones are chatbots, process automation, and fraud analytics. And I also see that many of the CIOs, CTOs, are engaged in massive corporate engagements with artificial intelligence, and they're pushing now from if we're going to do AI, but how we're going to do AI. How will we enable the company with the new conversational system? How will we support customer service? So this is a big area. Another area that you should see is that there are already given solutions now presented in the marketplace for enterprises. You see some of the leading players that actually took lead positions and providing the solutions. And then there are also models which people are saying, those are the models that I will be using, whether they're from Microsoft, Google, Baidu, or other companies. There are many other small companies which are also participating. In the current landscape also, we're seeing corporates taking charge in many industry areas. As you could see, corporations are leading the way in, for example, automobile. You have, of course, Google participating, but also Ford and General Motors. In industry solutions, there are a number of top industry solutions which are considered to be standard, including an automotive called Drive.ai and Vio and others. In the area of toys and manufacturing, Anki is leading the way. As I mentioned, AI in technology is critically involved in the area of diagnostics, AI-assisted diagnostics, but it's also, in the case of Google and checkout-free stores, Google is leading this effort in making sure that if you are shopping if you are doing shopping in a store, everything is being done through artificial intelligence, and it's a checkout-free experience. And then you have AI assistants which are hitting us from all different directions, from Google AI to Google Duplex and others. So we have an era of massive, massive technological innovation. And I just mentioned a couple of very specific things. We're also entering an area of digital twins. We're now able to digitally represent the real world into systems. By 2020, there will be 20 billion connected sensors and endpoints, and digital twins will exist for potentially billions of things. So digital twins will be something that you should look at. They will evolve over time, but they will also collect and visualize representations of data, analytics, to business objectives. We now are going through the process of augmented humans, where we're augmenting humans and machines, as I mentioned, and this is being led by Google, Alibaba, Baidu, and others. Human augmentations with using smart spaces as physical or digital environment in which humans and technological systems are working very closely in an open, connected, coordinated, and an intelligent way. I mentioned in the beginning that we are making progress in facial and surveillance technology, and that's being done by an area called transfer learning. Transfer learning is also an area which is supporting a lot of self-driven cars as well. And you see Apple, Amazon, Carnegie Mellon very much involved in this space. Big area for you to look at is AI and the edge. In the future, we will have less AI sitting on the cloud, but a lot more AI sitting on so-called edge, which is edge devices like IoT, sensors, and vehicles. This is a big area. It's only going to expand. So imagine just in the future, chauffeur, you're riding in a limo somewhere in New York City, and the limo automatically takes you, this autonomous car takes you to a Starbucks, where the Starbucks is now preparing the type of drink that you like, a decaffeinated Americano coffee with extra shot. It's all created by robots. Robots are waiting for you already, presenting you that you get into the car. The car is taking you to your company, but there's a wireless noise reduction system, gives you privacy, gives you a way to communicate. Then you get to your office. In your office, you're already being guided to what you will do at your work. Once you return to your home, in your apartment, you are now being guided by all the sensor technologies. Temperature adjustments are being done in your house, and hot meal is waiting for you. This is AI on the edge. And this is the innovation coming with companies like Apple, with the new type of chip environments called A12 chips. We see this now very much prevalent. We also see a lot of improvements on hardware. There are a tremendous amount of improvements being done on so-called tensor architecture, which is being done by NVIDIA and Google. And quantum computing is very much maturing and providing opportunities now to do a massive personalized medicine to climate change. We also have this area of neuromorphic computing. Neuromorphic computing falls into two areas called Spinnaker and IBM True North, which is funded by IBM and DARPA. Both of them are trying to bring the AI on a chip. So AI brain working in real time on the chip environment. We also see new algorithms and new innovative technologies for artificial intelligence, especially area of reinforcement learning. That's part of machine learning, but it's not deep learning. It's ability to actually learn almost like a child does in a way, and allows you to build some of the very sophisticated robotic systems where you have to actually train massive amount of data. So right now you have huge progress in the area of reinforcement learning. As I mentioned, transfer learning, especially in the area of building new models, utilities, that's a big area which is getting a lot of attention. And the transfer learning is bringing us initial performance, which is much, much rapid improvement over what we have seen ever before. We are seeing something called capsule networks. One of the original founders of the deep neural networks, Mr. Jeffrey Hinton of Montreal, has put a paper out saying that we got to get much more accurate in terms of our deep learning. And there's a new capsule network algorithm called capsule networks available now, and it's going to be able to do much better to identify faces and everything that where we're seeing how could be a face be rearranged potentially? Can the face be rearranged? And the capsule networks will allow us to work on some very minute issues related to imagery. We also have new systems related to something called generative adversarial networks, called GEN. A new system where two AIs are fighting each other in a way, and they're trying to produce better pictures, better videos. In fact, now a picture, a very interesting art was sold by one of the top auctions in New York, and nobody knew the difference. That was specifically produced by generative adversarial networks, not by humans. There are a lot of other things to discuss in terms of technology, especially federated learning for privacy and conversational AI, as I mentioned, is a big area. I wanted to talk a little bit more on the human capital before I end. Human capital, and just bear with me for a few minutes as I end this presentation, the human capital is critically important because without people, we're not going to have great AI. Reskilling is going to be lifetime learning. Microsoft just opened a new AI university with MIT. MIT has built a new AI center, as well as many of you know. So reskilling and lifetime learning is going to be very, very powerful. And the future of work is going to be a big discussion within many enterprises and corporations. Future of work is about figuring out where the skills gap is, where demand will be. And demand will double. Every 24 months for AI, demand will keep doubling. So pool of AI talent now, as you know, very relatively small. And look, when AI people actually are graduating or are being taken, they are predominantly being taken to technology companies or financial companies. Everybody else are not able to capture as much of that talent. This equation has to change, and it has to change very quickly. Supply is increasing. We are seeing a lot more university courses and students, but it has to be even faster now. There's going to be a major war for talent across not only the United States, but the world. And we have to figure out how do we increase this, and also we're seeing this absorption of technology and financial services absorbing all of this talent. And we need other industries. We cannot have brain drain. Brain drain is where industry is grabbing everybody from universities, and who is left in universities. So we have to think about those things. Finally, one major issue to be addressed is the national AI strategies. This is where today there's a major confrontation going on between China and the United States. China has every intention of winning this AI race. The Chinese government considers AI key to their national security, and it is focused on facial recognition and AI chipsets. The United States is also pushing along and making sure that it becomes a major priority. Just a few days ago, it was announced where we have an AI national policy in the United States. But not only that, we have countries like United Kingdom, which is investing over $1 billion, country of France of $1.5 billion. There's a healthy competition between many countries right now, today, that are developing national political, national economic, national technological strategies in this way. And I encourage Ecuador also to get in this model and make sure that they are also developing some sort of a strategy for artificial intelligence, because it will be useful for on the corporate side, will be useful for local municipalities, as well as also on a national level. Finally, I do want to say that AI will have such a major implication for societies and companies for decades ahead. And the benefits are going to be focused on innovation, efficiency, efficacy, scalability. Those benefits will benefit consumers, companies, and societies. And AI will broaden participation in markets that have never participated. That will stir shifts in value chains that have never participated. It will also accelerate creative destruction, which is also very much healthy. New commercial successes will be seen. Ownership of large private data and ability to attract data scientists will determine countries' or companies' success for years ahead. As AI gains adoption, the skills the companies will seek and companies, in terms of organizational structures, will change forever. We must see that data is igniting the AI engine. And it's possible to see that augmented reality, which I haven't mentioned, it's going to be a big thing in digital enterprises with AI. All of the trends that I laid out today represent aspects of the new global growth, the new global economy, the evolution of humans becoming digital beings. The oil of the 21st century, ladies and gentlemen, is an endless supply. You will never come to end of insights. The ability to drill down and find insights is within your control. The digital future is yours for the taking. Don't focus on social dislocations, which are a convenient way for political consequences, but focus on man and machine augmenting each other to create a better future for each one of you, for your families, and for the next generation. AI will enable automation of many industries, or augment workers' activities on a daily basis, and provide benefits that have never been seen before in manufacturing, in agriculture, in professional services. And you will see that AI will completely change the world and change this century. Thank you very much.